In this episode of the Butt Chronicles, we take a look at Beavis and Butt-Head, episode 29, Washing the Dog.
Welcome to Industrial Industries World Radio's The Butt Chronicles.
You said welcome.
Oh God.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and butt munches alike. Welcome to the Butt Chronicles, your audio guide to everything Beavis and Butt-Head. And I'm your host, DJ Glowing Ice. And today we're talking about Beavis and Butt-Head, episode 29, Washing the Dog. It first aired on MTV on July 8th, 1993. And that's it. So, what happens to Beavis and Butt-Head in Washing the Dog? Well, let's check it out. The episode starts in Beavis and Butt-Head's house. The boys are sitting on the couch watching TV. And their TV shows an old man in a wheelchair as a full-figured nurse with a big butt and large breasts leans towards them. The nurse says, "Okay, comfy, Mr. Swatterton?" A close-up of Mr. Swatterton's face shows him looking at the nurse's large breasts. As he's drooling, he says, "Oh yes, I'm fine." Butthead laughs and says, "That guy's old." Cutting back to the TV show, it shows Mrs. Swatterton, Mr. Swatterton, and the nurse all together. Mrs. Swatterton is an old, fat, hunched-backed woman, and she's standing next to Mr. Swatterton as she speaks to the nurse. "You're just being nice to my rich husband, so he'll put you in his will." The nurse takes a deep breath, as if to look like she's appalled by Mrs. Swatterton's statement. Then we see the title screen for the show, and it's a pink screen with cursive black text saying, "The Rich and the Horny." A narrator then says, "Tune in tomorrow for another episode of The Rich and the Horny." Beavis and Butt-Head both get thought bubbles above their heads with light bulbs inside, and Beavis says, "Hey Butt-Head, do we know any old guys?" "Mr. Anderson." "Yeah, we're there." Next shot, we see Beavis and Butt-Head standing on the doorstep of Mr. Anderson's house. Butt-Head rings the doorbell repeatedly until Mr. Anderson answers the door. Instead of green overalls in previous episodes, Mr. Anderson this time is dressed in a plain white t-shirt and blue shorts. Butt-Head asks, "Hey Mr. Anderson, are you gonna die pretty soon?" "Yeah, and leave all your money to someone?" asks Beavis. "That would be cool," Butt-Head adds. "Boys, every man faces death. Lord knows I've faced it many times. I took lead in Anzio. I was napalmed in Korea. And boy, that little filly in Paris put an awful strain on my ticker, I tell you what." Butt-Head laughs. "On your what?" Both of the boys laugh, and Mr. Anderson continues. "Yep, boys, I've arm wrestled with death all my life. But it's been a good life, and when the Grim Reaper comes a-knocking, this van will stop rocking." Back to the boys looking confused, Butt-Head finally asks, "So, are you gonna die soon?" "Yes, boys, I'm afraid it's inevitable," Mr. Anderson replies. "Cool," says Beavis. Butt-Head asks, "So, you got any chores you want us to do?" "Yeah, we won't charge you nothing," Beavis adds. "Well, that's mighty nice of you, boys. Let's see here." Just then, Mr. Anderson's dog, Colette, comes to the door barking. Mr. Anderson looks down at Colette and says, "Well, you could give Colette here a bath." Colette has white fur and is completely filthy looking. You could tell a foul stench is coming from her from green air coming from her body. Mr. Anderson says, "She ain't been feeling well lately. She's been rolling around in her own sick." Beavis and Butt-Head look disgusted, and Butt-Head says, "Smells like teen spirit." "Smells like your butt," says Beavis. As Colette has a leash on her, the boys walk off with her, and Butt-Head says, "Okay, dude, we'll be back." Next, we see a strip mall as it focuses on a storefront of a laundromat. The boys walk up to the laundromat, and Butt-Head says, "This is gonna be cool." Inside the laundromat, the boys stand with Colette in front of a line of washers. They stare at a sign above the line of washers that reads, $1 per load. The boys laugh, and Butt-Head says, "It says load."
Hey, Butt-Head, these things cost money.
"That sucks," says Butt-Head. Just then, a shaky old lady approaches the boys and says,
Boys, would you do me a favor and watch my laundry while I go to the store?
Are you gonna die pretty soon?" asks Beavis.
I'm sorry, son, I can't hear you. You gotta speak up.
Butt-Head then yells, "Never mind, we'll watch your stuff." The old lady turns around and waddles away. The boys then open the washer with the old lady's laundry inside and start pulling it all out. In the process, Beavis holds up a pair of yellow panties and says,
Look, an old lady's panties.
Beavis tosses the panties, and both boys lift Colette up and put her in the washer and shut the door. Butt-Head says, "Hit poodle. Set it on delicate." Beavis turns knobs on the washer and then starts it. The boys watch the dog slowly spin around inside the washer through the glass window. They then air guitar and sing, "Washing the dog, washing the dog." The boys lean back in, and from the view of the dog inside, we see the boys spinning around, and Beavis says,
Think she's clean yet?
"Yeah, take her out," Butt-Head replies. The boys pull Colette out of the washer and set her on the floor. Colette is dizzy and sees stars spinning above her head. "Whoa, check it out. She's stoned," says Butt-Head. This gives the boys an idea. Next scene, we see Beavis and Butt-Head inside the washer. The washer is large enough for the boys to ride in and fall back onto the bottom as the washer spins around. "Hey Beavis, I just made my pants dirtier," Butt-Head says. Two people outside of the washer are watching Beavis and Butt-Head spinning around. Inside, the boys look at them, and Beavis says,
Look out the window. Those people can see us.
"Yeah, to them, my face looks like a sock." The washer stops, and the boys open the door and walk out dizzily with stars above their heads as well. Now, with Colette on her hind legs, Beavis and Butt-Head also are walking around, stumbling and dizzy. The boys then air guitar dizzily, and then they vomit. Beavis vomits on the dog, and Butt-Head vomits on Beavis. The boys then use the old lady's yellow panties to wipe the vomit off of their faces. "Let's go. Doing chores wipes me out," Butt-Head says as he picks up Colette. Beavis throws the old lady's laundry back into the washer and says,
You said wipe.
Back at Mr. Anderson's house, the boys are standing on the doorstep and they hand Colette back over to Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson, holding Colette in his arms, smells her and says, "She smells worse than when I gave her to you." Looking at the boys as their shirts and faces are covered in green vomit, Beavis says,
I don't smell nothing.
We used a special new dog detergent. Lemon-scented chunks," replies Butt-Head. "Well, detergent ain't enough, boys. You gotta use good old elbow grease." "We used, stomach grease," Butt-Head replies. Mr. Anderson goes on saying, "You know, it's like the story of the two frogs that fell in a pan of boiling milk. One of them said, 'I'm done for,' and he gave up and died. The other one started flapping his little froggy arms, flapping his arms, till he was finally standing on a big chunk of cheese." "Whoa, we gotta try that," says Butt-Head.
Yeah. Got any milk?
asks Beavis. "Alls as I'm saying is you boys have to get up off your butts and work harder." "Hey, it was free, asswipe." Mr. Anderson, now angry, yells, "That's it. Get your worthless hides off my property and don't ever come back." Butt-Head says, okay, but we got just one question." "Get out," yells Mr. Anderson. Can we be in your will?" asks Butt-Head. Mr. Anderson slams the door in the boys' faces. And that is Beavis and Butt-Head, episode 29, Washing the Dog. Now let's get into the music videos. First music video is Pets by Porno for Prios. And seeing orange squares in the video, Butt-Head says, "If I wanted to learn about geometry, I'd go to school." Beavis says that geometry isn't about squares, but about triangles and stuff. Butt-Head says, "I meant advanced geometry." Beavis says that this band sure got wimpy, and then Butt-Head defends them, saying that they're cool. Seeing an old man selling bags of nuts, Butt-Head says, "Check out this old dude." Butt-Head then mentions that there's something cool happening in the video coming up. After a few scenes pass and Butt-Head saying, "That's not it," it then cuts to a scene of a woman doing a handstand with her legs wide open, and Butt-Head says, "That's it." The next music video is Outshined by Soundgarden, which we've already covered this video as it was shown in an earlier episode, which was Way Down Mexico Way, Part 2. Next music video is Everybody Everybody by Black Box. Butt-Head asks where Vanilli is, and the boys then dance to it, and Beavis says, "Hey Butt-Head, change it or kill me." And then they change it. Then the last music video we got is Rock This Town by the Stray Cats. Butt-Head asks if the singer is Billy Idol. Then Beavis talks about how the story of the video is the singer getting into a motorcycle accident and there's blood. A guy in the music video that Butt-Head mistakes as Weird Al Yankovic starts dancing with a woman. Then Butt-Head says, "Whoa, he's gonna get some 'cause he's Weird Al." Beavis says, "Yeah, if you're famous, all you have to do is just walk up to chicks and say, 'Give me some.'" And that's the music videos. Now let's get into the fun facts. We have only a few fun facts to share in this episode, and one of it is the debut, basically, of Mr. Anderson's current look with just a plain white t-shirt and shorts. He's no longer wearing the green overalls like he did in earlier episodes. And this episode was also aired in the World's Most Dangerous Beavis and Butt-Head episodes Maranathon in August of 1999. Washing the Dog is the 24th episode of Season 2 of Beavis and Butt-Head, and it's the 29th episode overall. And IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, gives Beavis and Butt-Head Washing the Dog a 7.7 out of 10 rating. Now, I'll give you my review. This episode, dear God, do I remember this growing up. This is one that I really kind of see as sickening. I really didn't enjoy too much of the vomit. I know. Me really getting sick at watching a Beavis and Butt-Head, but like with this, it was just like, it was just so graphic. I could just imagine vomit chunks in a fluffy poodle's hair and fur. And she's like, But also at the same time, it was funny as hell, and I do love it. So, yeah, it's just that gross out stuff I do love, but at the same time, it's like, oh, it's so nasty, but I like it. Man, I am wired very weird. But needless to say, I love this episode, and watching it again, you have a different, it hits different watching it as an adult. And the things I pick up on that I don't pick up on or didn't when I was a kid was there are people like that out in the world. I know quite a few people that help out the elderly only to be put in their will, or they do it. They're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing it to get money. So I know people that try to come off as like very serious, mature adults, but they're acting just like Beavis and Butt-Head in this episode. And you could tell them, hey, you're being like Beavis and Butt-Head, you know that, right?
No, I'm not. I'm really trying to help somebody. Don't you ruin this for me. I'm trying to get some money.
And, oh man, it just hits home so close. But yeah, it was funny seeing the rich and the horny TV show at the beginning. That was probably the funniest part that I probably enjoyed. I really do enjoy these like fake TV shows at the beginning of these early episodes. And just like a lot of the made-up commercials and stuff, I find that just those little things here and there, they're always so fun to enjoy, because it's just like one joke and then it's gone, but it hits very well. So like I said, the concept, Beavis and Butt-Head trying to get money because they think they can be put in the will by helping somebody, and they just completely and royally screw it up. The old lady, Beavis playing with her panties, that was funny too. Yeah, it ended very well with Mr. Anderson yelling at the boys and telling them to get the hell off the property. Like, this is one of the few episodes I can really think of where Mr. Anderson comes to his senses and really tells the boys off. Like, he catches them in the moment. Like, he gets pissed off at what they do, but he never really, like, gets a final word. Beavis and Butt-Head tend to escape before he could really, like, explode on them. And in this episode, he actually accomplishes exploding on the boys. So, good for old Tom Anderson in this episode. Given everything, I'm going to have to rate this one an 8 out of 10. As a kid, feeling a little grossed out about it back then, I always remembered I kind of didn't like this episode, but now rewatching it, I like it a lot more. It's weird how that happens, but there you go, guys. Beavis and Butt-Head, washing the dog, gets an 8 out of 10.